My name is Ivan Hernandez, and on behalf of my group, I would like to present to you the Lewisville Independent School District project. My group and I came up with some questions to ask for this interview. In this video, I will be interviewing Mayra Flores. Mayra is a former student of the district, having had attended school here from 2nd grade up into her graduation. All right, so I have Mayra Flores with me here. We're about to conduct our interview, and I do want to make a quick correction on the introduction of the video. I said that she attended from 2nd grade to high school, but in fact she attended from kindergarten to high school, so that gives us a better perspective, hopefully. So go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit and let us know what schools you attended.
So I attended the LISD school district from pre-K up to my senior year. I attended Lakeland Elementary for pre-K, Hedrick Elementary, Hedrick Middle School, and Lewisville High School growing up.
Okay, so my group and I came up with some questions to ask you. That way we can get a better understanding of Lewisville ISD. So we're going to go ahead and start with Andrew's question.
Hi, Mayra. My question for you is, do you know anything about the history of schools in Lewisville? Like, do you think they were segregated? And if so, how do you think it has changed from back then to now?
Hi, Andrew. That's a good question. So, history-wise, I do know that the LISD school district was founded in 1902. Segregation-wise, I'm not sure, other than growing up, there were like Latinos, whites, blacks, kind of segregated and off in their own groups. Our rival schools would sometimes say racist comments. For example, the cheerleaders would sometimes chant baby welfare and things of that nature, but that's about it.
And the fact that you say that, when I was doing some research on Lewisville ISD, I came across an article from 2015 saying that that students had racist signs at a basketball game against Flower Mound and Plano East. So it's interesting that you actually felt that looking back.
Yeah, it was very common, so I'm not surprised.
But I do agree. I think as a minority, you do feel some type of segregation, and it's kind of obvious looking back to it. Our next question is going to be from Mayra to Mayra, and she has to say,
Mayra, my question to you is how the community and parents are engaged in your school.
Hi, Mayra. So personally, growing up, my parents would attend maybe my games, maybe volleyball, track meets. Academically wise, teachers made it accessible for parents to check their kids' grades online. So that was always since elementary up until high school. So that made it better to kind of stay on track. Other than that, other parents were very involved. More Caucasian parents were involved in PTA. Maybe it makes it a little bit more intimidating for Hispanic parents to be a little bit involved due to that language barrier.
well, I'm glad that they make your grades accessible to parents. I feel like that's a good way to engage them in keeping track with their students. So our next question is going to be from Tyler. He actually has two for you. So let's go ahead and start.
Hello, Mayra. So here's my question. According to the source Texas Tribune, Lewisville's rating is a B and has a 95.8% chance that students graduate. What would you give Lewisville and why?
Hi, Tyler. So honestly, I would rate LISD a C. That's because growing up, I felt there was more effort from the teachers, in elementary and middle school. But once high school hit, I felt like I was around people that weren't motivated, and that was kind of a domino effect in the people that I would hang out with. And I feel like I kept my grades up for sports, and my coaches really pushed me to do better.
And one of their, on their ratings, it states that every student, in that district at least gets some kind of funding. So it's estimated for 11,000. But do you feel like other high schools, middle schools, depending on where they they're located receive more funding than other schools?
Yeah, absolutely. I felt schools such as Marcus High School, Flowermont High School, all those fall in the same district, but I feel like they had better training programs for sports, academically. So yeah, I do agree with that.
Interesting. His second question.
Hello, Mayra, again. How much emphasis is put on students and their schoolwork compared to sports and extracurricular activities? And that's the high school that you went to, was Lewisville.
So LISD has always had a policy. It's no pass, no play. So if you don't have a C or higher, you don't get to play in your sporting event. So that was always emphasized, and so the grades always really mattered to LISD.
So the next set of questions come from Darcy. Unfortunately, she was not able to send us her video, but I have her questions right here. So her area of interest is in art, so she has the following questions. Were you required to take any art classes when you were in middle school and high school?
Yes, I was both middle school and high school. I wasn't very good at it, but they did allow you to get a little bit creative with clay, paint, and everything. So, yes.
Okay, and do you feel like you were given the opportunity to explore your creativity?
Yeah, I was. Sometimes they put us in group activities to kind of build something together.
So it wasn't like a step-by-step lesson, like here, draw this, or this is what I want.
No, not at all.
Well, that's good that they give you the opportunity to express yourselves, which is very important for a developing mind. And then so her following questions are for demographics. So what was it like attending a school district with 58% white population?
Honestly, it's a little intimidating, just because they are the dominant, population, and so growing up bilingual, it makes it a little bit harder transitioning into those classroom settings where, and making new friends, because I grew up in bilingual classes with the same people, and then being put out into those classes, it's a little intimidating to be put on the spot to read in front of everyone and collaborate with people that have a different mindset.
Yeah, okay. Did they put any emphasis on integration? Did they, not just for you, they taught you English and stuff like that, to speak English, and but did they offer some kind of transition? Hey, this is, Mayra, she's Mexican, English is her second language, to try and get other students to be more understanding of you?
No, not at all. So in elementary, I was put in a bilingual program where, and it started off in kindergarten, where we learned both English and Spanish terms. I learned English and Spanish, math, science, up until fifth grade actually. I was put into a classroom setting with other ethnicities. But there wasn't any proper introduction or anything. It was just we were kind of thrown in there. So.
Okay. Yeah, so I can see how there could be a misunderstanding.
Mm-hmm.
So I was looking up some of their history, right? And a lot of it really was about segregation, of course. Texas is known for their racist past towards any minority. But here it says that even after the Brown versus the Board of Education, Lewisville did not start integrating fully until the 1970s. According to this website, the current status, the current district composition, states that white students are 1.8 times as likely to be enrolled in at least one AP class than Hispanics. Black students are 4.6 times as likely to be suspended than white students. The segregation index, and we're talking about how they have successfully integrated since the 1970s. According to this segregation index, it's very high. So the ethnicities within that district are very visibly separated. And the achievement gap, black students are on average academically 2 grades behind white students. So with those stats, do you really think that Lewisville successfully integrated in the 1970s?
maybe a little bit more than the 70s, but there are still bits and pieces that, still made it feel segregated, with, everyone's whites, blacks, Hispanics. So, yeah, I think so.
You still, okay, well, that's good. Do you think that the reason that these stats are here, or, the current stats, does it have anything to do with segregation?
Possibly, yeah. It would be nice if classrooms were a little bit more incorporated, a little bit more integrated, with Latinos, blacks, whites, and kind of getting to know, instead of judging, why someone doesn't understand what you're saying, maybe helping them, working side by side, and seeing things from a different perspective.
Okay, I definitely agree with you on that, and that's one of the things that Dr. Krutka, our professor, was talking about. That you take something that's different from someone and make it, for example, like Spanish as a second language, right, or first language, right, and English being your second language. Like, how do you incorporate Spanish into your classroom? That way, you kind of have that student feel welcome into that classroom, be part of the classroom, instead of alienating someone. So I feel like a lot of the stats do kind of segregate students. There is a sign of segregation. That concludes our interview with Mayra Flores. I want to thank you again for agreeing to this interview on such a short notice. But one final question, and I think it's pretty important to at least me and other dog lovers. What would you rate Lewisville ISD from pet friendly to not so pet friendly?
15 out of 10.
Awesome.